In a small, quiet town, there lived a man who was deeply in love with his wife. She was a beautiful woman, admired by many for her charm, grace, and radiant smile. The man often found himself gazing at her with pure admiration, marveling at how fortunate he was to have her in his life. Their days were filled with laughter, shared dreams, and a love so deep that it seemed nothing could ever tarnish their happiness. But life has its own way of testing even the strongest bonds. A few months into their marriage, the woman began to notice changes in her skin. At first, it was subtle, a faint rash here, a small patch of dryness there. She dismissed it, thinking it was temporary. However, as weeks turned into months, the symptoms worsened. Her once flawless complexion began to deteriorate, and she could feel her beauty slipping away. One evening, as she sat alone in their bedroom, staring at her reflection, tears welled up in her eyes. She could hardly recognize herself. The vibrant woman who had captured her husband's heart now felt like a shadow of her former self. The fear of losing his love consumed her thoughts. What if he starts to see me differently? What if he no longer loves me? She whispered to herself, her voice trembling. Unbeknownst to her, her husband had sensed her distress. He often caught her avoiding mirrors or pulling away when he tried to touch her face. He didn't fully understand what was happening, but his love for her never wavered. He decided to give her space, hoping she would come to him when she was ready to share her burden. One day, the man had to travel out of town for work. It was a short trip, but the timing felt heavy. His wife seemed more withdrawn than usual, and he hated leaving her alone. "I'll be back before you know it," he assured her, planting a gentle kiss on her forehead. She nodded, but couldn't bring herself to meet his eyes. During his journey back home, tragedy struck. The man was involved in a severe accident. Though he survived, the injuries he sustained left him permanently blind. The news devastated both him and his wife. She wept inconsolably at his bedside, blaming herself for not confiding in him earlier. "If only I had told you," she sobbed. "Maybe I could have been there to help, to prevent this." But her husband, even in his pain, comforted her. "Don't blame yourself," he said softly. "Life is unpredictable, but we'll face it together. I may have lost my sight, but I haven't lost you. And as long as you're by my side, I have everything I need." His words filled her with a mix of relief and guilt. She resolved to care for him with all her heart, dedicating herself to making his life as comfortable as possible. Over time, their life settled into a new routine. Despite her declining appearance due to the skin disease, her husband's blindness meant he couldn't see the changes. He continued to treat her with the same love and adoration as before, unaware of her physical transformation. Years passed, and their bond only grew stronger. They supported each other through every challenge, finding joy in small moments and cherishing the love they shared. Yet, deep down, the wife still carried a lingering sadness. She often wondered how her husband would have reacted if he could see her now. Would he still look at her with the same affection? One fateful day, her illness took a turn for the worse. Her health deteriorated rapidly, and despite her husband's efforts to care for her, she passed away peacefully in her sleep. The loss shattered him. She had been his world, his guiding light in the darkness. Without her, he felt adrift, consumed by grief. After the funeral, the man decided to leave the town where they had built their life together. Everything there reminded him of her, and he couldn't bear the constant ache of her absence. As he prepared to depart, a neighbor approached him. "How will you manage without her?" the neighbor asked, concern evident in his voice. "She was your eyes, your support. Life will be so difficult for you now." The man paused, a bittersweet smile playing on his lips. "Friend," he began, "there's something I need to confess. I'm not blind." The neighbor stared at him, stunned. "What do you mean?" The man's voice softened as he explained. "When my wife discovered her illness, she was deeply troubled. She feared that I would stop loving her if I saw how her appearance changed. I could see the pain in her eyes, the fear of rejection. I couldn't bear to let her feel that way. So when I lost my sight in the accident, I decided to pretend that my blindness was permanent." He took a deep breath before continuing. "I wanted her to feel loved, cherished, and beautiful, no matter what. For all these years, I lived in darkness, not because I couldn't see, but because I chose to close my eyes. It was the only way to protect her heart." Tears streamed down the neighbor's face as he listened. "You truly loved her," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. The man nodded, his own eyes glistening with unshed tears. She was my everything. Her happiness meant more to me than anything else. Even now, I don't regret a single moment. The neighbor watched as the man walked away, carrying with him the memory of a love so profound that it transcended physical beauty and personal sacrifice. In his heart, he knew that the man's story was a testament to the power of unconditional love, a love that sees beyond imperfections and chooses to nurture, protect, and uplift. As the man left the town, he carried his wife's memory with him, a beacon of light in his self-imposed darkness. Though she was no longer by his side, her presence lived on in his heart.